this flannel looks so cute. This plaid shirt. Ooh, 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 ooh. Hey beautiful, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, hi, my name is Alexis Jayda and welcome. I forgot that. Notification shout out goes to Michelle #2. Thank you for always showing me love and supporting me. Te quiero mucho. Besos. If you guys want to be the next notification shout out, all you have to do is subscribe, turn on the notifications, the post notifications, like the video and comment so that I know, and then you could possibly be the next notification shout out. Oh my gosh, I get so tongue-tied. So today's video, I'm going to be doing another story time. I asked you guys what videos you guys would want to see. It was between getting catfished by my family member or my other worst makeup client. And a lot of, look how cute this shirt looks.
Very cute.
Right?
Ooh,
I know.
huge.
I got it for what? I got it for $4.99 at the thrift store.
Notifications. What are you doing? Story time?
Yeah, I'm doing story time. So I'm gonna be doing my makeup while telling you guys the story. I like giving you guys details. I like taking you guys back with me to give you guys the whole everything. I like giving you guys the whole meal. I don't like giving you guys a side piece. I don't like giving you guys a little something, little flavor. No, all of it. Side note, this palette is freaking gorge. Look at it. Me and this cousin, she was in and out of my life. Didn't really get along with her that much. She was just one of those primas that was just always bitching and complaining and didn't like anybody. Her shit didn't stink, but everyone else's did. And she just rubbed me wrong just because of that fact, where it was always everybody but her. And she always had the chisme. She always had everyone's chisme. And it always had me thinking too, like, okay, I gotta make sure I don't ever tell her anything, because just how she's over here telling me and my mom all this chisme and all this and stuff, she's probably doing the same when my mom vents to her, or when she asks me how I'm doing. She really don't give a damn how I'm doing. She just wants to make sure that she has the chisme. It's just one of those things, like, she didn't even care. And it came off that way too, like when she would ask, like, oh hey prima, like, how are you doing? It was just like she had to ask. It wasn't like if she really cared. So I didn't really like her, didn't really get along with her at all. She was older than me, but not that old enough where when we fought, no one was really surprised. I'm gonna name her Cola. I'm gonna name her Cola. So Cola would always be up in everyone's business. Like, I mean, like, everybody. She would come over, tell us everything, all the chisme. Even when we didn't ask about it, we'd be like, oh, how so-and-so, girl, did you hear, blah, 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 blah. Go off and tell us. And I was just, I don't know, I was just always annoyed with her. And she always had something to say too. Always had something to say, as in like, oh, your mom lets you do that? My mom didn't let me do this. My mom didn't, and I hated it because my mom would sit there and listen, and sometimes like, listen, like, you know what, you're right, I am too easy on her, or you know what, you're right, this and this. She kind of influenced how my mom would like raise me in a way or do things, and I hated it because me and my mom would be good and chilling, and I would do something, and like the cousin was over and she would just interfere, be like, oh, you know what, Terry, you're too easy on her, this and this. And I hate that. I even hate when people do that to me with my own kids. I don't like it. I didn't ask for your opinion. Keep them to yourself. Okay, thanks, thank you. I hate it. Even when my brothers interfere and they want to tell me like, oh, we could never, or blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear it. Shut up. When you have your own kids, shut up. Save it for that. Shut up. I don't like it. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like, it brings me back to like those memories when my cousin would say something and then my mom would just like switch and be like different, you know, and she would like influence my mother, and I just hated it. And I always wondered like why my mom did listen, because it was just weird. She wasn't that much younger than my mom and not that much older either. Like, she was really in between. So when mother would listen, I didn't like that. It was just ugh. And she just always had a way of talking too. Always had a way of talking to me and just making me feel freaking ugly. Now, I'm not saying my cousin's ugly or anything like that. Whatever, she can do her, but we do not look related at all. And she just always made me feel fea, always. And she's one of the cousins too, because there's another cousin that I have as well that would always give me crap on my nose. And I think that's why I have this weird thing with my nose. I hate it. And you guys know this. The ones who have been rocking with me for a long time, y'all know that I hate my nose. I'm too scared to get surgery on it because I'm scared that they're gonna mess up. I can't go back. I can contour the hell out of her, but I can't go back if I go in with surgery, and I'm such a wuss, so I could never even do the surgery. Her and this other cousin, the other cousin I can't stand, I could do so many chisme videos about that bitch because I freaking hate her. I still hate her. When I see her slide into my DMs, they want to be like, hey prima, I love you. Like, fuck you, bitch. I can't stand her, but that's another one. This one too, they always had this thing of talking about my nose, and I hate my nose. I think because of that, because before my mom would always tell me like, oh, you have such a beautiful nose, blah 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 blah, and I believe her, and I'd be like, oh, okay, what? And then they would comment on my nose, and I hate my nose. So I'm scared to get the surgery because I'm scared that what if I do it, it doesn't look the same, and I just don't look like me. And you guys are like, who the heck is this? Who are you? I'm like, I am me, but I'm not, you know? So anyways, she would always take digs at my nose like that. Like when she would see me like feeling myself and stuff, or when my mom would tell me like, oh, like you look like Selena, mija, or when my other cousins would tell me that I resemble Selena and stuff, and I would be like, oh, thanks. And then Cola would be like, but your nose though, it's just because your nose, it just doesn't go with you. Like, it just, I'm sorry, like they don't want to tell you because they don't want to hurt your feelings, but it's because of your nose. And so I would literally like try and pinch this shit so that it would look skinnier, because she literally made me feel like my nose was so big. I hate her, because now when I look back, I'm just like, ew, what a nasty ass freaking bitch that would make me feel like that. It's like my niece Eileen. If you guys know my niece Eileen, she is really close to my kids. It's like her telling Angelica, my daughter, who is 10, like the 10-year, like, you know, they're 10 years apart, punking on her, and I would beat her ass. Like, what the heck? What are you doing? And so my mom would sometimes chime in and be like, shut up, like she has a pretty nose, like what are you doing, like why are you telling her that, like like why are you being like that? And my mom would sometimes check her, but my mom couldn't always check her because she wasn't always there to put her in her place. And sometimes I would put her in her place too, like me being, you know, me, and I would tell her, being that young, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you trying to make me feel bad? Like, what do you get out of making me feel bad? And then she would kind of feel stupid. Like, you know how someone just feels stupid and you can see it on their face? She'd look like that. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm not being mean. She's like, I'm sorry, not hurt your feelings. And she would try to, you know, like, oh, go backwards and be like, oh, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Like, oh, my bad. Like, oh, no, it's fine. You look, of course you look cute in it. And she would do that kind of thing. And the reason why I would say stuff like that is because my mom would always tell me, like, when someone's being mean to you or bullying you, put them on the spot and let them know, like, what do you get out of it? Like, what's wrong with you? Who raised you? Pretty much. Like, why are you telling me that? Like, what do you get out of it? What do you benefit from telling me that? Does that make you feel good? And it's so crazy when a child tells you that, because it makes your grown ass want to sit down and be like, and you want to reflect on your actions and how you're making this child feel. And sometimes some people will be like, no, like, oh, my bad, I'm an asshole. And other people can continue to pick at you and pick at you because they're so disgusting, pretty much. So sometimes when I would call her out on it, and I'd tell her like, why are you being rude? Like, why do you like to make me feel bad? Like, don't talk to me. Or I would just go to my room and I would tell her like, I hope you feel better about yourself, as I'm like walking away and stuff. Okay, so we had that type of relationship. I was never the one to go and approach her and be like, oh, hey, I missed you, so glad to see you. I didn't care for her. I still don't care for her till this day. I don't like her when she's brought up. Don't tell me about her. Wish her well. Okay, bye. Because I don't care. My mom lives in this apartment, and she would come over here and there when my mom was there, when my mom wasn't there, just to come check up on us, make sure that we weren't doing anything bad. Because I will admit, she was one of the first to catch on when I was doing my nonsense. Still don't give her no right to be the way she was, though. I feel like if I would have had someone to talk to and, you know, vent to, I wouldn't have done most of the things that I did, because I would have been scared, I guess, or felt like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I don't want to disappoint this person, or blah 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 blah. She would come over, just check up, make sure that we weren't doing anything bad, act like she cared, but at the same time she just wanted somewhere to go so her mom wouldn't be bugging her. So she would come over, check up, hey, how you doing? And she would try to, you know, see what we were up to. My brothers didn't really get along with her either, because she was just, like I said, like rude, and she would pick on the boys too, because I have 2 brothers. They would talk, she was like, why do you talk like that? Why do you talk funny? And I hate that, because my brother, he had he would stutter a lot, like a lot. He would stutter a lot. Now, not as much, but he would stutter a lot. And she would put him on the spot to the point where he would kind of be like, and skip over his words. And she'd be like, oh, why do you talk like that? Oh my gosh, like spit it out. Like she'd be such a bitch. So when she would come over and check on us and stuff, we didn't really like, oh, hey, what's up? Like we didn't really care for her. She only had somewhere to go, whatever. So at this time, my grandma had given me a phone, so I could have a phone. My grandma liked spoiling me because I didn't have a dad, and so she was kind of like my dad. She would get me things that I needed. If my mom said no and my grandma said yeah, then that's what would sometimes fly. My grandma would be like, I said yes, Terry. My mom would just listen because my mom respected my grandma before things went crazy. Got into the phone, messaged my friends and stuff, like, oh, hey, what's up? There wasn't that much that I knew about apps and stuff. Like I wasn't that like into technology. I swear, like I'm still kind of like learning. I'm not all the way where like all these kids are like, oh yeah, you download this and this one you can do this. I'm not there yet. She came over one time and I noticed that she was on this certain app. I don't know if it wasn't Moco. It was something where like you didn't have your profile name or you didn't have like your picture for your profile. A bunch of kids just went on there and just chatted, like all sorts of like ages and stuff. Some people met up, some people didn't. If I can remember the name, I will let you guys know, just in case you guys are like, oh my gosh, me too. I had no business on that app. The only reason why I found out about it was because my cousin, when she came over, she was on this app and that's how she would meet boys, and she would go to the mall, meet up with them, and some she just had like a cool relationship with, and she said like it just passed time. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't right away bust out my phone and download the app in front of her, but when she left, I did, because I was curious. I was like, okay, I'm lonely, my mom is never here, I'm bored, and I was just pretty curious too. Just a curious teen, which I had no business being curious. So I downloaded the app right away. People are so nice, like, oh, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what's up? Like just random people, like, and you would have conversations with these people for freaking hours and hours, and it wasn't even like perverted half the time. There were some that were creepy and you just knew like, okay, you're gross. And you can go to another part of the chat and be like, hey, do you know user blah blah blah, and they're like, oh yeah, that person's a creep, blah 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 blah, and you can just talk. So I don't remember what my username was. It had to have been something freaking corny as hell. So I would, let me just put it like Sexy Lexi, and I'll be talking to people like, oh yeah, ha, 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 talking it up, and then I would go onto my computer under a different username and be like, yeah, so what do y'all think about Sexy Lexi, just to see what people were saying, because I was just, like I told you guys, I felt ugly. I never really thought that, I don't know, like I could get cute guys to talk to me. I was just wondering like, what do y'all say about me? Some were nice, some were like, oh, she's like kind of like low-key annoying. Conversations dry, because some of these little mocos wanted to talk about stuff that I had no idea. Like I had no idea what certain things meant, okay? And it took a while until I was grown to understand like, oh, that's, oh my gosh, okay, you're an idiot. Because I've been put in so many situations where I was younger where someone would say something and I'd be like, yeah, I like doing that. And then like a cool friend of mine would be like, you idiot. He meant this. And I would just be like, oh, okay, so he just thinks I'm a hoe. Okay, great. So it was like that kind of thing. I was very naive, dumb, and I didn't have someone looking out for me, honestly. Like I really didn't have someone looking out for me, and most of the time I got myself in trouble because I was just up in the hat, and I would just sometimes just try to be cool and just go with the flow, and I shouldn't have done that. My cousin came over one time and she needed to do some schoolwork on the computer, so okay, didn't think anything of it. She went on the computer, she was on it for a while. I was on my phone over here talking to like the boys and stuff. Oh, I got so scared. I was like my peripheral, and like this was moving. I thought it was like the ghost head. Okay, anyways, so I didn't think anything of it. She's like asking me and stuff, like what I've been up to, trying to get some cheese and stuff, and I'm like, oh, nothing. She's talking to a boy from school. She's like, oh, from school? And I was like, yeah, his name is so and so. just giving her a little bit, but not a lot. So I was just giving her a little bit, just so she would leave me alone. Because this girl, you know how you just want to tell someone, like, okay, hey, hi, bye, just get it over with. Just like, stop talking to me. I don't care about you. You don't care about me. Bye. So she was on the computer for a while doing her homework. I was over there talking to the person on the phone, texting away. My mom came home, asked me what I was doing. I was like, oh, nothing. Cousin wants to make a joke and be like, oh yeah, she's talking to boys. And my mom looked at me because we had a strict rule of no boys unless my mom said it was okay for me to talk to them. And even that, I had to be on the house phone so that she could pick up the phone whenever, just to hear if we were talking nasty or anything like that, you know? And she would do it, okay? It was embarrassing because sometimes I would try to lie to her about the conversation, but she already knew all about it because she was on the other end just listening to the full-on combo. And that's just how my mom was. She would try to catch me and she would call me out a lot on my boo because she always told me, like, did it, done it, said everything all before. I put your grandma through this much. Don't try it, Jade. And I would try it, and sometimes I would get away with it. And I honestly think it's just because she didn't want to deal with it. She don't want to deal with me anymore. So cousin makes a stupid remark, and I was like, okay, whatever. Days go on, we're chilling, and then I see that I get a new request when I'm entering the chat again from this person. Super nice. Like, oh hey, what's up? We're just talking. This person was like all the way out in Colorado. I'm in Utah, and I was like, okay, that's a good enough distance just in case anything happens. He can't come all the way over here and kill me. Which, don't think that, okay? Don't be stupid. So I'm talking to him, getting along great, just saying like all the right things, and just being like such a cool friend. And I emphasize on friend because that's what it was. It was a friend. You know what? The more that I think about this freaking app, I was talking to my mom about it not that long ago because we were on the topic of, do we think that our kids are, you know, as innocent as they come off? And I'm like, you know what, Mom, there's a lot that you didn't know, and you should have been checking on me more. And she laughs because she feels like she was like pretty stern, and I feel like too, but I feel like she should have been on me a little bit more because I was a little mucosa, you know. But anyways, I feel like I had a full-on freaking sugar daddy without getting any freaking moolah. Okay, I wasn't sending this freaking mucoso any like pictures or anything like that, but this person that I was talking to on this app would straight up be like, good morning, good night, and check on me every single freaking day. And we would talk. And I remember one time my mom took away my phone because my cousin wanted to intervene on something, and she's like, you should take her phone away. She has so much attitude. You see the way she responded to you, and I didn't even respond to her any sort of way. I remember this very vividly because I remember being so furious. I just wanted to jump over the table and just beat the shit out of my cousin because I was so tired of her always interfering and me and my mom. And when she wasn't around, me and my mom got along great. Like, I would tell my mom everything. Well, kind of. And as soon as like cousin popped around, it would just switch. Like, my mom kind of felt like she was becoming like two-faced when she would come around because one, she was probably like, you know what, I do gotta be on Jade more, or you know what, she was slick in the mouth, or two, she just probably didn't want to hear my cousin Gola, so she was trying to just like, like, you know, just trying to silence her and just tell me whatever. So it would piss me off. So this day, my mom told me to pass her something, and I was like, oh yeah, here. And I passed it. I didn't give it to her in her hand. I passed it on the table, like here, because my mom was doing something. And then my cousin Cola wants to be like, oh no, like, you see, she has too much attitude. She's always on that phone. Who knows who she's talking to? Who knows what she's doing? And my mom was like, you know what? You're right. Give me your phone. I was like, why? She's like, I said, give me your phone. Don't ask me any questions. I said, give me your phone. But I was like, okay, but why? Like, I don't understand, like, what I did. You told me to pass it to you. I passed it to you. Mom was like, it doesn't matter. Give me the fucking phone. Like, my mom just snapped. And so I was pissed and gave her the phone. And then my cousin wants to be like, yeah, you see? She's like, I wouldn't even be able to even ask why. I would have got backhanded, blah, 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 blah. And I remember telling her, well, that's you, okay? That's you. That's you and your mom. That's you. Because I'm like, that's not my mom. So I remember just being mad, like, shut up. Like, I freaking hated to hear her talk. Like, shut up. I didn't talk to that guy on this app for, like, I think it was, she got away for a couple of days or a couple of hours. Who knows? Who knows? When you're a kid, it feels longer, right? But by the time I got my phone back, she didn't go through my phone. Because I remember my cousin's like, you should go through it, see what she's up to. I bet you it's up to nothing good. And, I'm so lucky because my mom would whoop my ass. But she didn't go through it. She was like, no, it's fine. And she just put it in her purse, and that was it. And I remember going in the room and just checking to making sure that the purse was still there and it wasn't anywhere else. Like my mom wasn't, you know, going through it, because she would have been pissed to see like who I'm talking to. Like, why are you talking to these people like this? Why are you telling them our business? Why this, why that? Again, it was nothing sexually or anything like that, but I had no business talking to these people that I had no idea, right? But anyways, get my phone back. This guy is tripping and, oh, I love you so much. What did I do? Just weird. And I remember just feeling so weird in that moment that I just like blocked the person, because I was like, wait, like what's going on? Like what's going on? Like I don't know, like what, we were supposed to be friends. Why are you ever getting weird? Like you're getting super weird. So this person was probably like not all in here. And I was telling my mom, now as an adult, like that's crazy. Like imagine if I would have been like, here's my address before, and it killed us, because things like that happen, you know. Mom was like, I don't even know what to say, Jade, because I can't believe you even did that. I was like, I know, me too. Anyways, that was a little side note. So I get a random ad from this person, we get along. So this new person, we'll call him Pete. So we're talking, he's telling me that he's the same age as me at the time, and his dad is a drug abuser, and his mom is just always working, and he doesn't really get to do much, and he has to watch his siblings. And I was like, oh my god, me too, but I don't have a dad. And my mom, I think there's something wrong with her, but she's always in school. Like she's always in school. She says she gets high, but I'm pretty sure that's not how people are supposed to act when they're high, because they're supposed to act like that they're happy, right? Because my mom would always tell me that she was just on weed, but I know it was the other stuff. So we got along and we would talk a lot, and we kind of bonded over our parents being drug addicts and being the oldest and having to take care of the younger siblings, because I had to take care of my brothers. We would just talk and talk and talk, and it got to the point where I was just texting this person non-stop about everything, how I was feeling, what my mom did, my super cola cousin coming over whenever she wanted, just bugging all the damn time, and I just didn't like her. So we got to talking about everything. He was full on, I felt like I knew this person, like this was a real person, and he would tell me like, oh yeah, like I go to this school, I would go to school, and I would talk to my friends and my cousins and stuff, and they'd be like, oh yeah, like I know that school, he seems pretty cool. But we could never meet up or anything like that because he was too far, and my mom wasn't about it. If I would tell her like where I met this person, she'd be like, what is wrong with you? No, you're not gonna do that. What is wrong with you? So we would just talk. We got along great, and then it started getting to the point where like if I didn't answer certain questions, this person would get annoyed with me, like super annoyed, and make me feel bad about myself. It made me sad because I was like, oh my god, like what's wrong with me? Like honestly, like what's wrong with me? Because at this time in junior high, boys at school would always give me shit because I wasn't experienced. And that sounds so stupid, and I feel like not a lot of people talk about it, but there's just so much pressure. Anything junior high, you're thinking like, oh my god, that's like, you're a baby. Of course you're still a baby, but we want to act grown. Well, in junior high, I got a lot of shit because I wasn't experienced. Like my friends and my other cousins, because they were already doing all kinds of stuff, okay? And some of the things I didn't even get. And I was like, okay, like what does that mean? What does this mean? And they wouldn't really want to talk to me. They'd be like, oh my gosh, like she's like so innocent, like why are you bringing her along? Why are you bringing her this? Why are you this? And I always felt like something was wrong with me because I didn't get the jokes or I didn't get the slang. And so when this person that I was talking to, Pete, would be mean to me when he would like ask me certain questions, and we would talk, and he would ask like, so how experienced are you? And I'd be like, what do you mean like experience? Like what's experience? Like is there levels? Because I know like, and this is a real thing, you guys, okay? Like when people would say like, oh, first base, second base, I never understood that. I'm like, what's first base? Is first base kissing? Is first base like touching, or I'm going out? I didn't know. And people sometimes would be like, are you being fucking stupid, or you really don't know? And I honestly didn't know, because you don't grow up just knowing, and I didn't have anyone around me to tell me this stuff. I was the oldest, and I feel like when you have like an older sibling, you kind of catch on like what's going on. And I wasn't really around others a lot because my family is like in Texas, in Idaho, and I didn't have anyone, not to teach me, thank God, but to kind of tell me like, pendeja, this is what it means, this is this. And then the people that I did have around me, sometimes they were assholes and they would let me look like a dumbass. And sometimes they were like, this is what it means, Jade. Like, oh my God, you're so embarrassing. I didn't mean to be fucking embarrassing. I didn't know what that meant. Like French kissing. Oh my God, so stupid. I thought French kissing for like the longest meant like down there, like you guys were like French kissing each other's stuff down there. I didn't know what it meant. Like I didn't know what it meant. So like when people were like, oh, like have you ever French kissed? I'd be like, oh my God, no. Now, because I didn't understand. And then the more I caught on, and people honestly thought like it was because like I was playing stupid, but I really wasn't. I just didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know, and people took advantage of that. Anyways, so he would get annoyed and ask like, you don't know what this means, or you don't know what that means. I'm like, no, like what the hell? How am I supposed to know what that means? And so I noticed like he started being more of an asshole. So I was like, okay. I talked to this person a lot, and I want to say I talked to this person for like maybe months too. And it wasn't like always. It wasn't like he was always mean or anything like that. It would just be like, okay, like let's just move on. Let's go to a different topic, or let's talk about something else. Or I would have to get off the phone, so we would start talking about it. And most of the time that this was happening, when I was talking to this person, my cousin was over. And sometimes her mood would change too, which was weird. And then now I figured out why. But it was really weird. So like sometimes she'd come over and she'd be like in a really happy mood. And then if I pissed Pete off for whatever reason, she would be pissed off. And it just kind of sucked, because it was just like, damn, I have to deal with this bitch that I don't even like, that comes over to check up on us, to use our computer, and she wants to sit here and be mean to me. And then this person that I don't even know, but I'm like hella crushing on, is mad at me because he thinks I'm stupid. And it sucked. So I had attitude from her, and then I had attitude from Pete. So with this app, you couldn't send pictures or anything like that. You had to get like the phone number to send photos and stuff. And he would always try to ask me like what my phone number was, and I was scared because my mom had me watching Lifetime all the time, which was a good and bad thing. So she always had me watching Lifetime, so I was always scared, like what if I give him my number and then something like this happens, something bad happens, my brothers, and what if something bad happens to my brothers and then their death is on me? Overthinking stuff, which was good, because it was good that I thought like that. So I would always like, oh, I can't because my mom, she gets so upset if I give out my number and stuff. That's why I only can use the app. But oh, okay. I'm like, oh, but we can be friends on Facebook. He didn't have a Facebook because he thought Facebook was stupid. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, that kind of seems like, all right, whatever. Because not that many people like Facebook. So didn't think anything of it. And I went to school one day and I was talking to one of my friends, and they had this app too. And they freaking met up with people on this app, and they would go on dates and stuff. And so they were telling me like, what's the big deal? Like, just give them your number. It's not a big thing. You'll be fine. Chill. And I was like, all right, one of these days I'm just gonna do it. So we're talking one night, and he's asking me like, hey, can I get your number? Like, what do I have to do for you to give me your number? And I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'll just give you my number. So I gave him my number, and we just started texting all the time, even more now, where it was like a lot. And we would talk about one of my hugest insecurities, which was my nose. And I would tell him stuff like, yeah, like my bitch of a cousin, she's like always making me feel bad about it, and she's the one who needs to get her nose fixed because she looks like a fucking bruja. And he would like, you know, try to make me feel better. Like, people would just talk about others when they're insecure about themselves. And so I'd be like, yeah, like she must be super insecure because she is so rude to me about my nose. And she would always tell me too that I wasn't gonna grow chichis because my chichis should have been out by now. And so that was another thing. Like on my birthdays, I would literally wish for chichis because they just wouldn't come in. And I looked at my mom, looked at my grandma, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, why did I get no chichis? Like, what the hell? Like, what's going on here? Like, this girl made me feel so insecure. Her and this other cousin, like, I swear those two bitches were just so rude. And I try to really think about it. I'm like, okay, was I really that, like, was I that big of like a shithead of a child? But then I think about it, like, it doesn't even matter if I was. Like, I was a child. And even like when I try and think about it, and really try to understand like why they were so rude. I can't wrap my head around it because I can't see myself being rude to a child to that extent where like I see it's affecting them. So I talked to him and be like, yeah, I feel really insecure about my nose, my boobs, all of that. And I felt comfortable enough talking to him about that because he would tell me insecurities about him, like, oh yeah, like I feel like I'm a late bloomer, feel like it's not growing, and I'd be like, oh, like it's fine, like my chichis are not growing. So I felt like, honestly, like, okay, this person's being vulnerable to me, I'm gonna be vulnerable to them, and we're over here talking about our stuff. And I was like, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I honestly didn't. I would confide in this person. Like when me and my mom would fight and stuff, I would run to my phone and talk to Pete. And it kind of makes me sad because I'm like, why didn't I learn like this when I got catfished the other time? Like, how come, like, why didn't I think? But you guys will understand why. So I would run to him, talk to him, and then I noticed like my cousin started coming over less. And I would tell him like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what happened, I don't know if she got knocked up or what, but I'm so glad she's not coming over anymore. Like every time she would come over, my mom was always in a freaking mood, and he'd be like, oh yeah, like what is your mom like, does your mom not like her? I was like, I don't even know, like my mom doesn't even really tell me not much about her, but I'm pretty sure she don't even like her either. Like it's always something. Like every time she comes over, my mom always sighs and always like, okay, because she just doesn't want to hear her. I'm like, honestly, I feel like she doesn't even want to discipline me half the time. It's just because she doesn't want to hear her. And he'd be like, yeah, makes sense. Maybe she's just like that type of person. I was like, yeah, honestly think so. So he was just like a good friend. Like even when I got like my first boyfriend, I was talking to him about him. Me and my mom had one of our first fights and I ran away. I had no business running away because I don't know where the hell to run to. I'm talking to Pete. I'm texting Pete and stuff, and I'm like telling him what I did. He's like, oh my god, you're crazy. Like, where are you gonna go? And I was like, can I go to your place? Like, maybe I can go to you. And he was like, I don't think you can because there's not enough room. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I won't even get in the way. Like, I won't even anything. Like, I just can't live with this woman anymore. She's freaking crazy. And he was like, yeah, like I don't think it's a good idea. And this whole time my mom's going crazy, like trying to call me, trying to get a hold of me. And oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Like when I think about it, I'm like, God, Alexis, you're such a bitch. Like my mom was, oh, she didn't even ground me or anything like that. She was just more just hurt that like I would do that to her. And I feel so bad. So the whole time I'm talking to Pete and I'm like telling him like, why can't I go with you? Like, I don't want to go anywhere else. And why can't I just like take a bus and go out there? Like I really don't want to live with her anymore. She keeps trying to work things out with my stepdad, and I just didn't want to be any part of it because I always told her like, if you work things out with him, I'm out, I'm gone, I don't want to be part of it. And so I was out. And so this whole time I'm like talking to this guy, I'm like expecting him to be like, oh yeah, like you can come live with me, whatever. And he was like, no. Like every time I brought it up, he was like, no. Like you can't come live with me. My mom's freaking out. I have my cousin Glam messaging me like, where are you? Don't do anything stupid. Your mom's freaking out. Come back home. And I'm not even responding to her. I'm not responding to my mom. I'm like, I'm not coming home. Period. I'm not coming home. I don't want to see any of you guys at all. And so the boy that I was dating too, I was like, hey, can I go stay with you? Because like my mom. And he was like, sure, but like you have to sleep in the shed and stuff because like my mom doesn't like any guests. And I was like, what the fuck? No, I'm not gonna sleep in the freaking shed. Like, what? No. So long story short, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back home. I go back home and my little ass walks in there with so much attitude, which my mom should have just mopped me right there. Because even though it wasn't okay, it was a good reason, I feel, to run away, was because she wanted to work things out with my stepfather. There was a way of going about it and I shouldn't have done that. Because I knew it was wrong, okay? I knew it was wrong. My brothers were crying and stuff because they thought like someone was gonna kidnap me, kill me, which it could have happened. Thank God it didn't. So I walk in with just freaking attitude and I see my cousins there and I'm like, why did you call her? Like, why do you always have to call her? I don't like her. I was like, you know, I don't like her. I don't want nothing to do with her. And right away she starts popping off and she's like, you think I give a fuck about you? The only reason why I'm here is because your mom, like you don't care what you do to her. Like look at her, you're stressing her out. And so like my mom's fighting with her, I'm fighting with her, and we're all just like screaming at each other because I'm just like, why did you call her? Like honestly, why did you call her? And this whole time I'm talking to this person, he never once told me to go home. He never once says like, hey, go home. He kept saying like, well, like figure it out, but like you can't come here. But you should figure it out, and maybe we can like meet up and stuff later on, like when you get situated. He never once told me like, hey, go home. My mom was like, you know what, Alexis, just go to your room. Just go to your room. She's like, where were you? And I was literally like, not that far. I was in the same city. And I was like, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you where I was because I'm tired of always trying to talk to you and you don't care about my feelings and you think it's a joke. And then my mom was like, oh my God, here we go again. Here we go again. Poor Alexis, poor Alexis. And then my cousin too chiming in like, oh my God, poor you, poor you. You're the only one who's ever had it hard. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to my room. So I go to my room and then my mom takes away my phone. And the whole time my phone is out in the sala with her, I can just hear it going off. Oh my God, she's gonna find out it's Pete. Oh my God, she is going to freaking come in here and she is just going to end my life. She's gonna find out that I'm talking to this person. She's going to end my life. She knew about my boyfriend. I go like this because like, what even was that? Like, that guy was such a piece of shit. Like, literally, like, the reason why we broke up is because like I didn't want to lose my virginity to him, and he was like, I can't do this no more, like, I'm sorry. I was very innocent, okay? And he did some stuff and I was like, what are you doing? And so that to him in his head was like, yeah, like, you're no. And like a lot of people would not want to like date me or like go on dates with me or whatever, because my mom would like, oh yeah, I'll pick you up around this time, and my cousin would go on like a little date to like the mall or like a little date to like the library. And like guys literally didn't want to go on a date with me because they'd be like, she's like really anal, and not even the good kind of anal. So anyways, so I got freaking dumped. I tried to say because we didn't see each other a lot, but it was pretty much because of that. Anyways, so my mom, I was like, if you see those messages, she's gonna be like, oh my God. She tried to go with him, but he was like pretty much telling me like, you could stay in the shed, but I think you should go back home, you know? So I wasn't really worried about those messages. I was more worried about the app going off and my mom reading it. Well, this whole time the freaking app is just going ping, 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 ping. So I go out and my mom was like, you're not getting it back. And I'm like, okay, I didn't say it was. And so I was still trying to give an attitude, but at the same time I was trying to like not give her that much attitude, because I was like, she's gonna flip and she's gonna listen to whatever Cola's gonna say, and Cola's gonna say go through it or something, right? And so I just see that Cola is on the computer, and so I'm telling my mom, I was like, that's the only reason why she comes over here, because she just wants to be on her computer. She just wants to use it. She don't even care. My mom's like, what does that have to do with you? What does that honestly have to do with you? Like, what is wrong with you? So what? She's on it. What does that have to do with you? And I was like, I don't even know why she's over here. And I was just complaining just to complain. I honestly don't know why I wanted to fight. Have you ever been in those moods where you just want to fight because you just feel so tense? You just want to cry. You just want to fight. And then after, you're just going to have a good nap because you already cried. Well, that was what I wanted that night. Like, I honestly didn't know. Like, my cousin was like, you want some smoke? And I was like, yeah, bring me all the smoke. I don't care. I'm gonna get high. And she was just like, you're so stupid. Like, go to your room. I was like, you don't get to tell me what to do. I am not your child, and I'm so tired of you always interfering in what my mom tells me. And she's like, Terry, tell her to go to her room. Like, I honestly don't know what she wants. Tell her to go to her room. And so I was looking at my mom, and I was like, really, you're gonna listen to what she's gonna tell you to tell me? And my mom was like, what do you want, Jade? What do you want? I was like, I'm hungry. So I just wanted to be close to my phone just in case like something did pop up and I could just snatch it. I was really willing to risk it all, because we had talked, me and Pete, really deep about our feelings, about like what I thought about my mom and stuff. And I was pretty mean, what I thought about my cousin. I was willing to risk it all. I was so close to it that like if I had the water onto the sink, that if it would go off and my cousin went to grab it, I'm just gonna freaking chuck it. So my cousin's over there typing away, and every time she's like typing away, I notice the phone keeps going off, and she's just typing away, it's going off, and I was like, maybe it's just coincidence. And then I started like getting like kind of weirded out, because I was like, oh, what if it's her? Like, what if it's her? What if it's her that I've been talking to this whole time? Because she was making like weird, she kept saying like, why do you need it? Like, who do you need to talk to? Like, who's so important that you need to talk to? And I was like, nobody. Like, I came out here because I'm hungry. I was like, why are you here? Like, don't you have someone important in your life that you want to go see? Like, why are you here? So everything that she was throwing at me, I was trying to throw back at her, but it wasn't really working because I wasn't that slick of the mouth yet. I wasn't that quick with it. I was just scared because my mom would backhand me if I went too far on her. Like, what do you want? What do you want? Trying to fight with her. So she was going off on the computer. My phone's going bing, 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 going crazy. Then our phone, our house phone, starts going off, and we answer it. I'm like, hello? My mom's like, why are you answering the phone? I was like, I'm just answering because I'm right here. I'm like, hello? Because I didn't know who it was. Right away, I was like, he doesn't even have our house phone number, so why am I tripping? So I'm like, hello? And no one answered. No one said anything. And so I could hear like an echo. So I was like, hello? No one was saying anything. So then my cousin was like, who do you have calling? Like, why? Who do you have calling? Who's calling the house? Whatever, whatever. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know who it is. Honestly, I really don't. I didn't give anyone our house number. She's like, so you don't give me your house number, so how do you talk to these people? I was like, who said I talk to people, and what people are you referring to? So I was starting to get sketched out because I was like, okay, she knows something. Maybe I'm talking to one of her friends, brothers or something, but I need to be very careful how I play my cards. So I started to change my attitude a little bit that night because she wanted to stay there the whole night because I had stressed my mom out so much that she wanted to help out, which I probably did stress my mom out because I almost gave my mom a heart attack. But at the same time, it was none of her business. Like, I honestly was none of her business, and I really hated that anytime any drama happened, she was just always there. But I always told my mom, like, the only reason why she's here is because she wants to get all the chismes so she can go run back and talk to the tias and tell them everything. And so I don't know why you let her in and why you even tell her anything. I'm like, I don't even know why you call her. Like, honestly, I don't know why you call her. So you know how I told you about that other cousin that I don't like, that we're not gonna even name? So she comes over, and my two cousins, Cola and the other one, Pito, over there freaking talking, and she's like, yeah, freaking Alexis gave her a scare, she ran away, and they're just talking about all my business, and my mom's over there talking, and I hate that. I hate that. Like, I'm right here. Why are y'all talking about me? I'm right here. And so I was telling my mom, I was like, Mom, really? And the mom was like, then go to the room. If you want to hear us talking, then go to the room. I was like, why do I have to go to the room if you guys are talking about me? Like, why you gotta tell everyone my business? And so my cousin's like, you're gonna let her talk to you like that, Terry? Both of them. Oh. And then my mom just went in on me. She was like, I'm so tired of you being so disrespectful and just screaming at me. I felt stupid. I was over there holding back my tears because I didn't want to cry, and I was just like, and I was just so sick of those freaking cousins, you guys. So sick. Even when I see them to this day, I freaking dog them. I mean dog them because I hate them. I shouldn't say hate. I really dislike them a lot. So my mom sends me to my room. I'm in my room freaking crying, listening to them talk about how I'm such a bad kid and I can't believe she ran away. I can't believe she did this. My cousin Cola's over there laughing like, yeah, she didn't even go far and she probably didn't even have a plan. Just talking mad crap. And she's over there telling my other cousin like, Terry gives her too many chances. Like, she should honestly send her to Archway. Archway is like the step down from juvie. So a lot of people who are from Utah know about Archway because our asses were in there. So Archway, you would go in there and you could leave your kid in there for a couple of days, and it would just kind of give them a taste of jail, you know, kind of like scare them so that your child, you know, quit their shit. So I hear that and I'm like, oh hell no. Like, I cannot believe that they're over here suggesting to lock me up. Like, the nerve. And it pissed me off more because this cousin Cola was such a rebel back in her day, and I would see a lot of the stuff that she would do and I would freaking cover for her ass, okay? Like, her mom would ask me like, where was she? Do you know this? Do you know that? I'd be like, I don't know nothing. Like, I would honestly cover for her, and Cola would be like, thanks for looking out, cousin, blah 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 blah, you're a real one. And so to hear her flip, I was like, okay bitch, okay. So they were like pretty much laughing like, oh yeah, she didn't even go far, can you believe this? Terry needs to send her here. She's just taking advantage of poor Terry, poor Terry, poor Terry, because Terry has a lot on her plate. And I'm not knocking my mom, okay? Like, Terry did have a lot on her plate. She had 3 kids. She was a single mom. My mom was all alone, and my mom has bipolar. My mom has so many of her own problems. So yeah, poor Terry. So they were both telling her like, you need to send her somewhere because it's just too much for you. Like, she's just playing you. She's just this, she's just that, like in her ear. Ooh, I really like this look. I really like, ooh. I was listening and I remember just crying and being so hurt because I'm like, okay, Cola, like really, you're gonna do me this dirty? You're gonna do me this dirty after like everything? And I feel like, oh my god, like everything that I did and how I covered for you when your mom would ask this, or when she was over sometimes and her mom would ask me like, what are they doing, what this, what that, and sometimes Cola would sneak out and my mom would be like dead asleep and I wouldn't say anything because I felt like it wasn't my business. I'm not gonna say anything. And back in my head I was always like, okay, when I'm gonna do my stuff, hopefully you can cover for me, you know? So after they leave, I finally come out and my mom's like still has an attitude with me, and I'm like telling her like, I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to run away. Well, I did mean to run away, but like I ran away because I just want your attention. I don't want you to get back with my stepdad. Like, I don't like him. I don't want him in our lives. And I was just like opening up to her and talking to her, and she was just like, okay, Jade, like, you know, talking to me and making me feel comfortable. She gives me back my phone at the end of the night, and I'm reading Pete's messages, and it's just crazy. Like, oh yeah, like I really like how we had that much fun. We had so much fun. Next time, I can't wait to do this with you. Like, kind of like insinuating like if I was with him. And the whole time I'm reading these messages, ooh, mother. The whole time I'm reading these messages, I'm like, what the hell? Like, why is he acting like this? Like, why is he being weird? So like, imagine if my mom would have grabbed my phone and looked at the messages. It would have been like, she would have thought like I was with him. I was kind of thrown off. Like, why is he saying this? Like, why is he doing this? So I text Pete and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you saying this? Why are you talking crazy? And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, my brother had my phone. Like, I tell him and stuff that like I already met you because he doesn't think you're real. Like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of believed it. And I was just kind of put off in a way because it kind of freaked me out. I'm like, who is this person? Like, they just kind of switched. I would have got my ass beat. I would have died today if my mom would have grabbed my phone and read everything, because it was like if I was with him the whole time I was gone. But I wasn't. I was by myself and I was trying to go to him, but I couldn't. You know what I mean? So it kind of made me feel weird. So one night I just get really ballsy and I was like, okay, I'm gonna call him because I haven't heard his voice. I'm just gonna call him. We're only even texting. I'm gonna call him on that number. So I call that number and it just rings and it just rings and it just rings and it just rings. When you use an app that is like text free, or it's not a legit like phone number, it's just like an app that you can download so you can text, you cannot talk on it. Well, on some of them, I don't know, but the ones that I have used, you can't talk on the phone. It just rings and rings and rings and rings. So I didn't know until later. So I kept calling him and he would never answer. He would get a notification like, okay, they tried calling, and alert him, and he'd be like, oh, sorry, can't pick up, I don't have any minutes. Because this was back in the day when T-Mobile, when you use all your minutes, that was it. It was no more. Like, and so I understood. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I understand. He's like, I gotta save my minutes for my siblings. Hope you understand. I was like, yeah, I understand. Don't even worry. I was like, okay, got shut down real quick. And at this whole time, I'm like, okay, like, I'm just weird. Like, that's why people don't want to try with me. Like, I'm just weird. I don't know anything. Like, I even pissed Pete off when he asks me certain questions. Like, you know what this is? Do you know what like 69 is? Do you know what this? And I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. And I remember finding like a exotic book in my mom's room, and I remember talking to him about it, and he was like telling me certain things that he had did and stuff, and like, oh, like this made me feel this way. So I was kind of learning a little bit, and so I didn't feel like as uneducated. But what pissed me off was that he still would make me feel like bad if I didn't know he would still make me feel bad if I didn't know certain things. And it kind of made me mad because he'd be like, are you playing stupid or what? Like, what? Why are you acting like you're so innocent? And honest to God, you guys, I didn't know a lot of stuff. Even when I did get with my ex and stuff, there was a lot of things I didn't know. And there was still a lot of things I didn't know until I got with my husband, and I was like, what? Okay. Because I didn't know. Like, I was just a freaking little mocosa. Like, you're not taught these things. Or I guess I didn't take the class. I fucking missed out on that day or something. So we just continued to text. I tell him, he was asking like, oh, like, how did it go when you got back home? I was telling him like, oh yeah, Cola was like all up in my business. Like, I'm so tired of her. Like, I just want her to just go away. Like, I honestly want her out of my life. Like, I honestly do. And at this time she had a boyfriend and she was cheating on him, and I knew. Because when she come over to the house, he would sometimes pull up and she'd be talking to him, and I could see her outside the window when she would talk to him, and I would look at her and I would go like that. I didn't care. I did not care. I want her to know, bitch, I see you. I see you. I see you. Because I liked her boyfriend number one because he was nice. He was nice to me and my brothers, and he would play with me and my brothers. So when I seen that she was cheating on him, and she was, like, it wasn't like, oh, she was just talking to a homie, whatever. No, they would be kissing in the car and stuff, or he'd be out on the top of his head holding on to her. They'd be taking selfies and stuff. And so I would let her know, like, I see you. So I don't know why she was so rude. And I could have easily told on her. But I was still, like, I knew more about loyalty than she did. So I didn't even bother. But I wanted her to know, like, bitch, I see you. I see you. So I would tell him and stuff like, yeah, she has a boyfriend. Like, oh, I just want to tell him that she's cheating on him. I want to create a fake account. And he was like, don't create a fake account. Like, those are for, like, that's for losers stuff. That's some whack ass shit. And he would like talk really bad about like if I want to do anything like that. And I was like, well, I don't want him to know it's me. Like, what if he like, you know, is mad at me because everyone always shoots the messenger, and it's true. Everyone always shoots the messenger because they just feel one, stupid, or they just want nothing to do with you. And that's what I knew what was gonna happen. So I was trying to explain to Pete, like, I don't want him to know that I know, because there has been times where he has come over and I have covered for her. And he was like, well, don't be lame like that. Like, just because she is being an asshole, don't be lame like that. I didn't. But anytime I would try to talk to Pete about it and stuff, he was just like, nah, it's not cool. Like, let her do her. Don't stoop down to her level and stuff. Like, you're better than that. And we were cool homies to the point where we'd be like, love you too, type thing. So one day, I don't know what crawled up my cousin's ass, but she came over and she had a stank ass attitude. I know now why, and I'm gonna keep saying that because, like, at the time I didn't know. Like, she just came and she just had an attitude, and she was being a bitch to me, like, just being a bitch. So I always wanted to get into makeup when I was younger, but I didn't know how to do it or how to go about it. Girls in my school were already wearing eyeliner, makeup. My mom had a rule where it was only mascara or liner, but it can't be both. Pick one and that's it. And there'd be times where I try to get away with it and do eyeliner and mascara, and my mom would, whoo, she would go in on me. So we had an Alexisjayda, and I went to Alexisjayda, and there was makeup on clearance, and it's usually dark skin complexions that the makeup goes on sale, like super cheap. And at Alexisjayda it was like super cheap. So I got allowance and stuff. I went to Alexisjayda and I got some makeup. I got some foundation, and it was a tad too dark for me. Like, I had no business wearing foundation at all. So before she had came, I applied it because my mom was gonna go out, and I think she had to go to school or something. And I applied it. I was like, ooh, you're looking good, girl. Like, you know, I felt good about myself. It was a little bit too dark for me, but I felt good about myself. So she comes in, and right away she has this attitude, and I'm trying to avoid her because I'm like, I don't want her making me feel bad about myself. Like, I just don't want her to be mean to me at all. Like, she really is like in a stank ass attitude. I don't want her breathing my way or looking my way at all. And so as soon as she came in, my brothers too, they just like, and just walked away because she just brought this energy about her. So she eventually asks me, like, why do you keep covering your face? What did you do to your face? Do you have a hickey? And because I kept going like this, so she, I don't know, she thought it was a hickey or something on my face. So I look at her and she just laughs at me. Okay, and mind you, my face is wet, because I knew nothing about foundation. Like, I knew nothing about foundation, so my face was wet. It wasn't set or anything. And I looked at her and she just freaking laughs. She's like, what the fuck do you have all over your face, Alexis? And I was like, it's a foundation. Like, my friend put it on me. She wanted to practice makeup. Because I was embarrassed. And I went to her like I did this myself. She was like, you look stupid. You look so stupid. Go wash your face. And so I tell her, I'm like, no, I'm going to leave it. Like, I'm going to leave it. Like, I feel good. And then I tried doing that, like, you know, that big girl, like, chingo nothing. Like, you're just self-reflecting. Like, you just don't like yourself. So she was like, no, Alexis, like, it's not me self-reflecting, me nothing. I'm not going to be mean to you. You look stupid. Go wipe it off your face now. And so I tell her, no, like, I'm not going to. I'm like, you're just being a hater. Like, I'm not going to. And even if I look stupid, like, let me look stupid. Like, I don't know why you're always being rude to me. And so I was like, I don't know why you gotta be a bitch all the time. That's why your man don't like you. And ooh, if she would have turned her head a little bit more, her head would have popped off. And so she said, what the fuck did you say to me? And I was like, you heard me. And so she got pissed. She starts cussing at me, and I was like, I didn't even hear any. Like, have you ever, like, not given a damn where you just block out everything they're saying, and, like, as soon as their lips stop, you're like, and you continue, like, I don't care. I'm like, I really don't care. Like, I don't care. So she was like, what the fuck crawled up your ass? Like, what, you think you're grown? And she started trying to get crazy with me. And I was like, why are you here? I'm like, can you leave? Like, I don't feel comfortable, and you can't touch me. At this time, like, my brothers are coming out of the room. They're like, what's going on? Because, like, we're, like, screaming at each other. And she's, like, telling me that she's gonna whoop my ass. She's like, I don't give a fuck if your mom gets upset. I don't give a fuck what your mom says. I'm gonna whoop your ass. Like, I'm tired of that fucking mouth of yours. And so I was like, you can't whip me. And if you touch me, I'm gonna hit you back. Like, I'm gonna hit you back. And she's like, you better not hit me back. I'm like, I'm gonna hit you back. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, hit me, I'm gonna hit you. And so we're just yelling at each other. And then my phone goes off. And I look at it, and it's the boyfriend that I have at the time. And so she was like, you're so pathetic. You over here chatting with people that don't even know the real you on these stupid apps. She's like, you're pathetic. And I was like, how did you even know I have an app? And she was telling me, she said, like, I go through your phone, I see who you're talking to, I see everything that you're doing. She's like, you're pathetic. And so that hurt me. Like, being called pathetic, like, that hurt me. I was like, but I still didn't let her have it. I was like, bitch, you're pathetic. I was like, you're pathetic that you have to be with 2 guys because one, I'm like, because you're not satisfied. I was like, no one can satisfy you because you're a bitch. And so then she like threw something near me, and I got scared. Like I really thought she was gonna whoop my ass. So I like flinched and stuff, and then she's like, go to your fucking room right now. I'm gonna call your mom right now. And I was like, go ahead. And I went to go grab my phone, and she snags it from me. And so she snagged it from me, and we're like fighting for a while. I was like, give me my fucking phone. You can have my phone. And so like I'm like screaming, going crazy stupid, because I was like, she's gonna look at the messages that I'm writing to Pete, and she's really gonna handle me. She's really gonna whip my ass. And then she goes, I know everything. I know everything. I know everything that you've been doing. She's like, give me your phone now. I was like, no, you can't discipline me. I was like, who are you? Like, you cannot discipline me. And so at that time, my mom walks in. My mom's like, what's going on? And I'm like telling her and stuff, like, she can't discipline me. My mom's like, I know she can't discipline you. Like, what's going on? So right away, my cousin's telling her side. My mom don't want to hear me. She's like, let's go to your room now. Like, I don't want to hear. Go to your room now. And so I go to my room. I don't even come out. Like, I'm so pissed. I don't even come out. I have my phone. I don't even care, because I'm like, I'm just going to talk to Pete, and I'm going to talk to my boyfriend. Like, I don't even care. So I grab a towel, wrap my phone in the towel, and then I go to the restroom. My mom's like, leave your phone in your room. Like, you're going to take longer if you take your phone into the restroom. I was like, I don't even have it, and I have it wrapped in the thing. I was like, I don't even have it, it's in the room charging. And I was like, okay, go. And so I'm in the restroom, and I'm like talking to Pete and stuff, and I was like, dude, like, this girl's such a bitch. Like, I'm so sick of her. Like, I don't even know how to get rid of her. Like, have you ever just want to get rid of someone so bad, but you just can't? And he's like telling me, like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I'm honestly gonna tell her boyfriend. I was like, and I think that's gonna be like the icing on the cake, because then she'll finally leave me alone. Like, she won't want to come around me, and she'll honestly freaking hate me. He's like, don't do it. Like, don't sit down to her level. Don't do it. And he kept asking me, like, are you gonna do it? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm for sure gonna do it. Like, they would both come over sometimes and like hang with my mom and like chill. Like, all the cousins would get together and stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna do it. I don't care. I'm doing it. When he comes over, I already have a picture of her in the car with that one dude. Like, I'm gonna do it. And again, he was like, don't do it. Like, I'm gonna be so pissed off at you. Like, I hate people like that. Like, snitches get stitches. Like, I hate that, blah blah blah. And I was like, I don't care if you're gonna be mad at me. Like, you're not here. You don't see how she is to me. Like, she's so rude, and you think she'd be nice because like everything that I know. And so he stopped talking to me. Like, he stopped completely talking to me. I came out of the shower, my cousin's gone, and my mom's just talking to me. She's like telling me that like, even though that she's wrong, that like I cannot get crazy with her like that. That like I need to respect my elders. Like, my family is huge on respect your elders, and I'm huge on I don't give a fuck, because I don't. And that's why I don't get along with a lot of my family members, because they always told me like, you never know when to shut your mouth. And it pisses me off, because I shouldn't have to shut my mouth when it comes to certain things. Like, if you're being a dick, I'm gonna say it. Like, you're being a dick. Like, you're being an asshole. I'm not just gonna shut up just because you have some years on me. No, like, if you're being an ass and you're being disrespectful, like, I'm gonna say something. Like, I shouldn't have to just shut up because you don't want to hear me, because you guys are so used to this respect your elders bullshit. Like, no. Like, there's a difference. Like, if I'm just being a little mocosa, okay, whatever. But if you're being rude and disrespectful and putting me down and being disgusting and being mean, I'm gonna speak up. Like, there's no need for that. So I noticed that my cousin stopped coming around, like, completely. Like, she stopped coming around, and I honestly thought she stopped coming around because like my mom put her in her place. Because my mom told me that she told her that not to come around for a little bit and stuff, because like we were just getting to the point where we're gonna fight. And my mom was telling her like, I'm gonna choose my daughter. Like, it's always gonna be my daughter at the end of the day. I was happy with that. I didn't really think of anything like of Pete and stuff, because like we had stopped talking, and I was like, whatever, cool. Because I did message, and I was like, hey, like, how you doing? He wouldn't message or anything, or if he did, he would be like super dry. So I was like, okay, whatever. Like, you're fucking weird. Just because I'm gonna tell my cousin, like, it has nothing to do with you. So I don't even know why you're upset. It's just one of those things where like it's just, I don't get it. Like, make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense to me, and I study. So she stopped coming around. Don't pay any mind to like Pete or anything like that, and it doesn't really bother me. Like, it's just one of those things that just happens. You know how there's just this thing that you do like all the time, and then you stop doing it, but you don't notice it until you stop doing it. So a couple of years fly by, okay? Years fly by, and this cousin comes back into our life, and she is completely cool. Like, we get along. She's like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm doing good. And this time, like, my mom is already like out of the picture, because my mom got hooked on drugs and stuff, so I didn't have my mom for like a lot of the years. So she's like, hey, how are you doing? At this time, I already have my son, and so I'm like, oh, I'm doing good. Like, how are you? we're talking and everything, reminiscing, like, oh, that's so crazy, like this happened, that happened. And I don't know how we get on the topic, her and her ex, but she starts telling me about her ex and stuff. Like, yeah, like we broke up and stuff. Things just didn't work out. And I was telling her, I was like, that's crazy, dude. I was like, so, cause like we're grown now, right? I'm thinking. And I'm like, it's crazy because when we were younger and you were such a dick to me, such a dick, I was gonna tell me you were cheating on him. I was like, cause you had it out for me. And she was like, yeah, I really did. Like, I just couldn't stand you. Like, I just honestly couldn't stand you. And I kept asking her, like, why? Like, what did I do? Like, and that's something that I hate asking people that don't like me. Like, what did I do? But sometimes I get surprised when they answer me and they actually tell me why. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe we can fix it. Maybe we can't. You just don't like my face. I can't fix that. It's my fucking face. So she was like, yeah, I just didn't like you. Like, I just honestly didn't. She's like, I thought you were just a little mocosa, and you know that I thought you knew more than what you actually did, but you really didn't. And I was like, I know, you're always on me about that. She's like, yeah, every time I ask you and stuff, like, do you know what 69 is, or do you know what this position is and stuff, you always would be like, what? At the time we're drinking, right? And I was like, bitch, say what? And she's like, yeah, when I would ask you. And I was like, when the fuck did you ever ask me that? Because right away it was just like something just hit me straight in my face. Pete asked me that. And she's like, yeah, I remember when I would ask you. And I was like, you would never ask me that. Me and you were never cool enough for you to ask me that. Ever. And then she's like, yeah, I remember when you ran away and stuff. I knew where you were the whole time and stuff. That's why I wasn't even tripping. And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, this bitch forgot that she didn't tell me that she's Pete. And so I was like letting her talk, and I'm like, you want another beer? She's like, yeah, like I'll take another one. And I go and put Andrew down because I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna beat her ass. We're both grown. I'm gonna beat her ass. She got me messed up. She's been itching for this freaking ass beating for the longest. So as I'm opening up her other bottle and I'm opening up mine, she's still talking to me about when she was Peter, but she didn't come out and say it yet. And she's like, yeah, remember, like we would talk and stuff, and you would tell me like a bunch of stuff. And I was like, if I told you all that, why did you hate me so much then? And she's like, well, you didn't tell me that. I was like, you just said that I told you. And she's like, no. And then you could just see when she was like trying to, like, you know when someone's just trying to come up with a lie, and she's like, no, I didn't say that. I was like, yeah, you did. She's like, no. I was like, yes, you did. So she's like trying to think, and I can see her thinking, and I'm sitting there and I have the freaking beer bottle in my hand. And this girl, I already knew she was so crazy because she told me one time, like when I was gonna get jumped by a bunch of girls, she was like, we're gonna get them and we're gonna bust some beer bottles over their head. Like, no one's gonna mess with you, blah, 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 blah. So she had her good moments sometimes, but not all the time. So I knew she was crazy. So I had the beer bottle and I was like, okay, like we're gonna go at it. We're gonna So I was like, okay, we're gonna get crazy because we're gonna get crazy. So I could see her thinking, I was like, stop thinking stupid. I'm like, I know it was you. And then she was like, what? I was like, I know it was you. And I was like, it was you, huh? And she's like, do you know or do you not know? I was like, I don't know, so tell me, is it you? Was it you? And then she just sits there and she decides, she has her head down, and she was like, yeah, it was me. And I was like, why? Like, why? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, why? Like, what did you get out of it? I told you like some crazy intimate stuff. I told you like when my first this, my first that, you would tell me yours, and was that a lie? Like, what? Like, honestly, like, what did you get out of it? And what pissed me off is that I would tell Pete like so like intimate things that like would happen, like when I first did this with the boy or this or that, and this person, Pete, would tell me like, oh yeah, like I did this with my girl and we did this and we did that. And so I'm thinking like, what the heck was going on? We would talk crap and it was just weird. It was like it didn't make any sense to me because I just didn't understand like what was the like what was the reason? Like, what did you get out of it? So I'm like yelling at her and I was like, what the fuck was the reason? Like, you're weird. Like, you're weird as fuck. You're weird. And she hated people calling her weird, because she had that vibe around about her that like people would be like, you're weird or you're bugging, and she would hate it. Like it infuriated her because I guess she did feel like she was odd, like she was weird. So she got mad, and then right away she goes and she just busts the freaking bottle, and she's like, don't talk to me crazy. And I was like, dude, I don't care, and you're gonna pick up that mess. Like I don't care. And so we started swearing at each other, cussing each other out, and I was like, what was the reason? She was like, I just wanted to know what the hell was going on, because I knew you were up to no good, and I just needed to prove it to Terry, and I just needed to show your mom, like I knew you were up to good. I was like, you're fucking weird. She's like, stop calling me that. I was like, no, you're fucking weird. Like you're honestly fucking weird how you carried this on for so long. And I was like, why did you stop talking? It just clicked. I was like, it was because I was gonna rat you out because you were cheating on so and so, well, whatever. And then she just told me stuff. She's like, no, I wasn't the reason. I just got tired because you were boring. Because you're boring as fuck. You're boring. Just like how the other guys at school were telling you you're fucking boring. You're uptight, stuck up anal bitch. And so I was just like, damn, like you really hate me that much that you did all that. And so she was telling me stuff, and it made sense because so much of the family knew so much about the stuff I had told Pete that I never put two and two together. I just assumed like, okay, like they just know this about me because I guess I just have it written on my forehead. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like they know that I have a nasty mouth and I hate my cousin Cola and the other one because it's just written all over me, because I never was disrespectful in front of like other family. Like I knew I could be disrespectful in front of my mom, but not in front of other family. So this fucking bitch was over there telling all the family and stuff, like all this stuff about me that I was telling Pete, and she had proof, like she could show them and stuff, like, oh yeah, this is how she is, this and this. And it just like made me feel uneasy. So she puts the bottle thing down and she's like, I'm not gonna fight you, I'm not gonna hit you, you can hit me but I'm not gonna hit you back. And so I just fucking slapped her hard. I just remember slapping her so hard, like my hand hurt. Like I hit her so hard. Being disrespected to that point where you just feel so violated. And I felt like, oh my god, like this person hated me since we were like super young up until adulthood. And the only reason why she did talk to me was because her ex-dude was working with the now ex-boyfriend, and so she wanted to know what was going on. And I feel like honestly that's the only reason why we got back together, like started talking, was because of that. So it pissed me off. So when I went like that and I fucking hit her hard, my hand was burning. Have you ever hit something hard? It was burning. She stood up and we just started going at it. We just started going at it. We started pushing each other. She ripped my good shirt. I'm just pushing her. She's pushing me. We're scratching each other. So I have long nails. I've always liked having long nails. My grandma always told me and stuff, like long nails look beautiful on a woman and stuff. So I always like pushing my nails back and stuff. So she was scratching me. She was literally trying to scratch my face, you guys. And the whole time I kept thinking, I'm like, damn, this bitch is trying to make me look fake. Like she really is. And she's trying to go at my face. And I'm just pushing her and pushing her. We're just going at it. We're going all over the floor. We're just hitting each other, swearing at each other. And she's telling me, she keeps calling me, you ugly fucking bitch, you ugly. I'm just like, no. I'm like, you bitch, you're fucking ugly inside and outside. You're weird. And so I kept telling her, you're weird, you're weird. So I'm living with the ex at the time, right? So he runs out, and other friends that were there kicking it, they come, they separate us and stuff, and I just tell her, like, get her out. Like, I'm done. Get her out. I'm done. We're no longer family. Don't ever hit me up. Don't ever say we're related. I'm done. I'm wiping my hands of you. Like, I'm done. Like, I never want to see your face again. Ever again. Like, I never want to see your face. And so they were like, what happened? I was like, she's weird. She's over here making these fake profiles and stuff. She's weird. Don't talk to her. She tries to get, like, you caught up and stuff. Don't talk to her. Walks out and she's crying. She's, like, bawling at this point. And I really felt bad for her. Like, honestly did. Like, in that moment I felt kind of bad because I was like, damn, like this person feels this way and just has this hatred for me, which I don't understand, because I could see like we would have been cool. Like I wanted to have that cousin where I grew up with, where we had each other's backs and stuff, and like through thick and thin, like you're my prima for life. Like I always wanted to have that relationship, but I never had that relationship. So seeing her cry and walk down to her car, it just made me sad. Like it made me super sad because she was just so like torn up and stuff. One of my friends runs out, grabs her keys, because I'm like, hey, she's been drinking too much, go get her keys. Goes and gets her keys, and then she just turns around and she just screams at the top of her lung. She's like, I want to leave, like that. And so I was like, shut up. And I'm calling I'm on the phone calling, and I'm like telling her brother, like, hey, come get her, like your stupid sister's here, she's freaking peda. Like, come get her right now. So he comes, picks her up and stuff, and he tries to come. I was like, I don't even want to talk to you either. Like, I don't want nothing to do with y'all. Like, just take her out. Like, come get her car tomorrow. Here's her keys. Like, I want nothing to do with y'all. Ever. Like, don't talk to me. Anyways, that was it. We had to freaking scrap it out. I feel like, honestly, it was kind of one of those things like where guys have to fight and then after, like, they can be cool, because now, like, I still dislike her, but like if I would see her, I still like look her up and down and stuff, but at the same time I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, I wish you well. That's really bad to have, like, you know, that kind of like have that feeling where you just like want someone. I don't know, like, I honestly don't know what it is. She says it's because she wanted to, it kind of makes sense what she said, like, oh, I just wanted to see like if you were up to no good and stuff like that, but she went on with it for like so long that was kind of weird. Like, me and Pete like liked each other, then like we didn't like each other, then like we liked each other, then like we didn't, but then we told each other like things like really intimate and stuff. It wasn't like if she was trying to like get with me, but then kind of like sometimes like she was, because like we were like saying like, oh, I love you and stuff, like, oh, like I don't know how to French kiss, like, oh, like one of these days like maybe I can teach you type shit. So like that was weird, because like, what are you doing? And like we would just talk about intimate, like, oh, I like being touched like this and like that. Like, it was just weird. So it's just, I kind of could see where she was going with, like, if she never would have said that kind of stuff, then I'd be like, okay, maybe like you were just looking out for me, oh, you got me. But it was just, we had that intimate conversation, so it made it weird where I was like, you deserve that fucking slap. So yeah, that was a long ass story time, you guys. That was a long story time. Long. So I feel better now. I honestly do. Like, when I talk about it with you guys, or when I talk about it with like family and stuff, like I feel better, because they want to ask like, hey, like so and so said that like you try to ruin her relationship and say that she was cheating, and I'm like, no, that's not what happened. Sit down and let's talk. But honestly, I feel better. Like I feel good, especially because like Cola and the other cousin are always trying to like hit me up and stuff, like, hey, let bygones be bygones and let's like hang out, I wish you well, I love you, Jesus is number one. And it's just like, shut the fuck up, because nah, not okay, not cool. I don't need those type of people in my life, and I feel amazing because I have you guys and I have my beautiful family. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this long ass story time. This is a long story time, but I had to give you guys all the details. I had to give you guys all the details of why me and this person never really got along, and why Cola sucked. Like, she really did. Honestly, truly, she did. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. If you guys did, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe if you guys haven't already, to keep updated my videos. Te quiero mucho, you guys. Besos a todos, and let me know if you guys like to see more story times. I would love to do that for you guys. Make sure to check out my other videos as well, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.